How would you like to go inside the mind of Tony Robbins and find out specifically what he does to get the results that he gets? Let's go. Hey, welcome back, Seekers of Self-Mastery. I myself am a seeker and teacher of self-mastery techniques. I want to take you on a journey that will help you change the way that you think, feel, and act. And in this episode, we are going to dive into a very powerful video that I watched many years ago that changed my life completely. It is a video about Tony Robbins working with a guy called Rashad on a problem that he has that obviously changed his life completely. Now, what I want to do is I want to go through this video and I want to give you the insights, the behind the scenes look of what's actually going on in order to get the change. Okay, so for myself personally, I'm trained in NLP, timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, and I've also got my own modality called self-mastery techniques that I'm now teaching and certifying students and people in that obviously want to help other people change the way that they think, feel, and act. So if you are in the game of change and helping other people out, I would suggest that you get a notepad out and take notes. If you are just using this for yourself, then enjoy and let's dive in. Now, before we get started, a little bit of context for this video. Rashad is a man that is living his life. He's got a wife and a family. He's got a career. He's got all the things that most people have when they're around the age of 30, 35. But he has got a significant stutter holding him back from achieving the things that he wants to achieve. I want you to think about for one moment, the ability to speak and communicate with other people clearly is probably one of the most powerful things that you can have within your life. If that was taken away, how would your life be? What impacts would it have on someone's life? Would they not be able to go out and do the things that they want to do, be the person that they want to be, and experience the things that they want to see? Exactly right. You could imagine that it could cause a lot of problems within the day-to-day life. So let's jump in now to the video of Rashad changing his life completely.
My name is Rashad Bell. I've stuttered for as long as I can remember. My freshman year of college, one of the first courses I took was a speech class, and I froze. The grade I received was an F. I went from a full-time college student on scholarship to stocking shelves on the graveyard shift at minimum wage.
All right, so the very first thing that I want you to keep in mind is that Rashad has obviously had this problem, this stuttering, for a very long time. And as he said, when he was in college, he went to a speech class to obviously get better within his communication, and he failed. Not only did he fail, but he failed miserably. So you could just imagine what that would do to someone's confidence. But the thing that I want you to understand is because this is a problem and a challenge that is caused and that is living within the mind, then the physical aspects of changing the way that he speaks is not going to work. This is so powerful because the actual cause of the problem is in the mind, in the unconscious mind, in the memories from the past. It's not because of the tongue or the jaw or, the connection between the tongue and the brain, and these sorts of things are not working. It's literally a limitation of the mind.
The industry I'm in is basically a sales industry, and stuttering has gotten in the way of closing a deal or even to schedule an appointment. I could have a more successful career.
Sales equals communication. If you don't have that, you do not have sales. You don't have sales, you got a lot of problems.
So much to me if you could help Rashad with his stutter. He's such an incredible man, and I know that there's so much more potential that he has. Every day is a struggle for him. His stutter holds him back a lot and makes him question himself. It's so hard because I can't do anything about it. Tony, if you could help, that would just mean so much to
Come on, T-Man, come in with the goods. The big man's on his way.
Rashad, nice to meet you. Well, tell me a little bit, if you would, about what's going on in your life. I understand you're having difficulty in terms of speech impediment or stuttering.
All right, step number one. The big man is on the ground. He's in action. And what you would want to do, what anyone would want to do when you're finding out how you can help someone else out, is step number one, find out, hey, what's going on? Where are you now? The beauty of this question, and it's a very obvious one, but it's a very profound one, is you want to get a really good scale. You want to get a really good gauge and feel of where the client is at. Sometimes you'll ask people, hey, well, fill me in. What is it that I can help out with? Where are you now? What problems or challenges are you going through? And sometimes people say, I have no idea. That's why I'm here talking to you. Sometimes they will give you a story that goes for, 50 million rabbit holes that really doesn't have to do with anything. So you want to understand where someone is at right now. And if you can understand where they're at right now, you can understand where it is that they want to go and how it is that you can get them there in the best way possible for you and them.
No, in my life, I rejected it. I was ashamed of it. I drew back and was extremely introverted.
Notice the hand. All right, notice the hand movements or gestures was all curled up. That's exactly the same as what a little kid would do. Rashad is in the moment right now where the activation, the neural activation of the problem is real. It is happening. It is active right now. And therefore he goes back into that little kid-like state. And this is what Robbins, this is what the big man is doing right now. He's lighting up the neurological pathways to make sure and to find out what the problem is. That's an absolute massive thing that if you didn't know, a lot of people would they wouldn't even notice it to start with.
But accepted.
You've gone through several stages that are perfect stages. You've gone through ashamed, you've gone through rejection, and you've gone through acceptance.
Now he is beginning to start the work. Now, what he's actually doing is he's building rapport, but the big man doesn't need to build rapport because obviously Rashad is probably looking up to him as a god to start with in the best possible way because he probably knows a lot about him, etc., etc. But Robin still needs to build rapport with the unconscious mind. So what he's doing is he's feeding back the exact words that Rashad has said, and then you watch now, he's going to say, hey, I know that you accepted it and you were ashamed and all these sorts of things, but now you've got to this certain point, now you need to change it, and that's going to be the segue for something different. Watch this.
Accepted this experience. Now that you've accepted it, you're going to eliminate it.
Change it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sign me up for that right now.
Okay, now I want you to notice what you just said. Do that exactly like you said. Yeah, sign me up for that right now. Say that again.
Yes, sign me up for that right now.
Now, notice the stutter was non-existent. What has happened now is a new logical pathway, a new set of neural pathways has lit up within inside Rashad. And this is what I would say, he's lit up like a Christmas tree. When someone lights up like a Christmas tree, you want to point it out. You're like, whatever it is that you're doing now, that's the thing that we want to intensify. That's the thing that we want to actually hold on to and bottle. So then we can use it later on. This is exactly what it is that Rashad wants. He wants to be free of the stutter. Now, something really beautiful is going to happen. Robbins is going to point out, hey, you don't understand this consciously, but what you just did was not stutter, the very thing that you want.
Now, you just spoke perfectly. Now, there were other parts of your speech that were perfect as well, but you just demonstrated what I'm going to show you. It's hard as human beings to figure out what makes people do what they do, but because I spent 30 years in 100 countries with more than 3.5 million people, at this point I could be an idiot and I'd have to see there's patterns that make people crazy, that make people happy, that make them fulfilled, that make them stutter. Once you know what the pattern is, it's so easy to change.
Very true. Very true.
Almost every unconscious pattern happened a long time ago when we make a decision about something. We model something. We model a behavior or we reject a behavior. It goes deep in our unconscious and becomes a pattern to avoid pain or to gain pleasure.
You need to think about the things, like every single thing that you do, you have learned off someone else. You've either accepted it or you've rejected it. So this is really powerful. This is why modeling is so important, especially in the NLP world. Why? Because you find out people that have what you have, and then you model what it is that they do, what it is that they think, and what it is that they feel. And therefore, you end up getting the results that they want. But what about if you are learning off someone else, mom, dad, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, teacher, bosses, whoever it is, how to do depression? How to do anxiety, how to do not taking action, how to do procrastination, how to do guilt, how to do lying, how to do abuse, how to do, the list goes on and on and on.
When did you start stuttering? Tell me the moment. What's your earliest memory?
Now, notice where Robbins' hands are. I know in this video you can only just see it, but notice how his hands are specifically on his chest. Now, I don't know if this is the full clip of him working with Rashad, or maybe they've done work that wasn't necessarily put into this clip, but what he's doing here is he's anchoring in the emotion of he needs to slow down, and now he's starting to search. Now he's beginning to become curious, and he's pointing towards his heart. He's saying, hey, look within and find the moment. The unconscious mind is working in the background, and it's going to find that moment.
What's your earliest memory in life? Take a moment. Your earliest memory in life.
Probably 2 years old. Got up on a Saturday watching cartoons and eating cereal. I believe it was Rocky and Bullwinkle.
And Bullwinkle, does he have a stutter?
Notice the look. Robbins is like, boom, got you, bingo, right on top of the golden buzzer. The golden buzzer is what I like to call the very thing that is going to either cause the problem or it's going to change the problem. So right now they've just found out the golden buzzer, and the golden buzzer was he was sitting down watching the cartoon show Rocky and Bullwinkle, and as Rashad was watching the TV show, one of those main characters has a stutter. Watch this. This will blow your mind.
Rocky?
Rashad's like, are you serious? This whole freaking time, probably 30 plus years, this whole time it had to do with that specific moment? Yes. The great thing is once you know the moment, and then you have tools and techniques to do something about it and change the perception, change the way you think, feel, and act about it, guess what changes? The behavior in the now moment.
And that's your earliest memory. And when Bullwinkle got himself in trouble, how did he get out of trouble when somebody was going to like torture him or do something bad to him?
He would scream out, Rocky, right?
And he always stuttered.
So now he's referencing the Rocky and Bullwinkle, the character on the TV, and every time the character was in trouble, the character would stutter. Therefore, the little kid being 2 years old is honestly so young. And between the ages of 0 and 7, you're in a state of theta brainwaves. You're in a state of hypnosis. So in that moment, either your external, your outside world is going to program your unconscious mind, or anything that you consciously think, like I'm not good enough, or maybe stuttering equals, what's the word? Like stuttering equals calmness, relaxation, peace, then the unconscious mind is going to take it on board. And obviously in the future, anytime you want calmness, relaxation, and peace, what are you going to do? You're going to study, you're going to produce that behavior once again.
What he said. So I want you to do this. All patterns like that happen because you've forgotten something that happened right before that moment. And now you're locked in by the pattern. There's a decision you made or something you experienced, or life was very different right before that moment. Go back to right before that moment, and I want
Here's
you to
the
recapture
kicker.
what you
Here's the
forgot.
golden buzzer. It's been locked away in the unconscious mind for years, for decades.
Parents were probably arguing. That is happening quite often, like to the point where my dad got physical.
And you didn't know what to do, did you?
So mom and dad are fighting.
Needed clarity and assurance.
Yeah. Did you get it?
And he needed clarity and assurance and help.
From Hey Rocky.
And he got that from the fucking Hey Rocky. A
The
lifetime.
one thing Rocky always responded to was,
Okay, help.
but not just to cry for help. A stuttering cry for help. Even a child who can't.
A stuttering cry for help is the very thing that got the main character. Guys, you need to understand this, right? The very cartoon character that he was watching, anytime that character was in trouble, he would stutter and cry for help, and he always got help from his other little character in that little TV show. And this is something that has been with this man, been with Rashad for his whole entire life, ever since he was 2. Mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing.
Can't consciously understand it, he feels helpless, will find a way to intervene and stop pain going between those he loves. And one of the ways to do that is create a new problem. So you found a way to protect your mother, stop your father from beating her, and it worked. That was perfect for a 2-year-old. Not good for a 30-year-old Rashad.
Right.
Now, this is also important when people are going through certain things within their life and they do not know how to deal with it. They do not know how to cope with it. They're going to do the very best with what they can, and sometimes causing another problem, an even more chaotic problem, can solve that problem. And like Robbins has just said, that's okay for maybe a 2-year-old Rashad, but not for a 35-year-old Rashad who now wants to go into more sales, more success, more achievement, fulfillment, and all the things that he's after.
So now what? Do we stay 2?
No, we don't say to. We don't say to.
At least he's made a decision. Good man.
You're a man. You're 30 years old. You've lived life. You've been through all kinds of stuff. There's a warrior in you, Rashad.
Here we go.
Feel him and where
Let
he
it
is.
out. Let it out, my man.
The warrior is the one who can face anything and storm through it. The warrior, once he sets his mind to it, he will do whatever battle is necessary for his wife.
This is identity work.
Himself. Make the sound of the warrior. The first sound that comes to you, make the sound. Make the sound of the warrior.
And there it
Warrior
is.
does not stutter. Ever. Own the warrior.
Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that powerful?
The warrior says now.
The warrior says, I am free.
The warrior says.
The warrior says, I am brilliant.
That's right. The warrior says.
The warrior says that I am electric.
The warrior says.
I am awesome.
Ask
I am
the warrior,
awesome.
do you need to stutter anymore?
No. You need to understand that in that moment, that little process that they did would have taken longer than about 3 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever it was, but it's just what they put in for the video, right? Because if not, it would be hours and hours long. In that moment, when they when Rashad is standing there and he's screaming, number one, it's called a primal scream. It's very, very powerful and very, very liberating to an individual. I remember when I've done it a few times, when I've done it with myself personally, oh my God, like he says, it feels like there is a warrior within. I've done this with other people as well, more so at events, because it's super weird to do in your office or within your one-on-one sessions, but at events I've done this a few times. Oh my goodness, it blows their minds. And the best thing is, it allows them to tap into a different identity, exactly what they're doing right now. Then Robbins is saying, hey, I want you to reaffirm, what does the warrior say? What does this part of you say that can do anything and move through anything or anyone, any problem whatsoever? And he's like, I am awesome, I am electric, I am powerful, whatever it might be. These lessons, these learnings, these beliefs are now going into the unconscious mind. And then once Robin brings him back to the here and now, you watch this. Now they're besties.
That was awesome.
There's a different person.
You're awesome.
Thank you. Wow. So, what's next, coach?
And now he thinks he bloody invented it. And this is how it goes. When you're working with people, as many of you guys that have worked with me personally, you would know, once you get the change work, especially at the unconscious level, you think you invented it. And you're like, why would I ever have a problem with that in the first place? And it couldn't feel more strange than anything else to think that that was the person, or that's the way that you used to think, feel, and act. And then obviously now we're going to see the aftermath of it and the results moving forward into the future. Speaking in front of 5,000 people. This would be at UPW or maybe even Date with
Give
Destiny.
a hand for Rashad, ladies and gentlemen. Rashad. Give it up for Rashad.
This is definitely UPW. So unleash the power within. I did this training, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago. And it was epic. So good.
Just a quick question. Would you just share, Rashad, what was going on before and what's changed for you?
Tony, it's just been locked up inside of me forever.
Yeah, 30-something years.
I've stuttered my entire life. Guys, 30 years.
Notice how he said, I've had, not I have, using past tense. So obviously the work is done just by looking at him, but it's really powerful to see, hear, and feel the language being backed up with it. I've had a speech impediment. Not anymore, but watch this.
Of stuttering, stammering, but that was the condition that I chose. I chose to stay there. I chose to identify as a stutterer.
Took responsibility.
I was afraid of greatness. I was afraid of my light shining, but no more. Because today, I am the voice. Today, I am.
Remember, F this. No more. Never again. When those three words are said, those three phases of language are said, things will never, ever, ever, ever be the same again.
I am the warrior. Today, lives will be changed. Today, I saw this moment as a child. I knew that I would be on stage talking to countless of thousands of people. Thank you for the pain. Thank you for the obstacles, because that brought me here today to talk to you, to give you my story, to give you me. Now you got me, now get you, and do it.
Yeah. just absolutely loving life. Now he's besties with the big man. He's probably, spoke at all sorts of events with Tony Robbins over the years. And I think this video is probably, God knows, 15 years old, whatever it is. But notice how right at the end, he's like, thank you for the pain. Thank you for that event. What happens is when people change the way that they think, feel, and act, what begins to happen is, once upon a time, they looked at that event and the event was absolutely horrible. They couldn't think of anything worse. And if anything, they would blame the event. Rashad probably said, that event, it's such a this and such a that. And it's holding me back from doing all the things that I want to do. And now he's like, hey, you know what? That event was the best thing that ever happened to me, because now I'm here to speak to you. Now I can share my voice and do the things that I want to do. And I tell you what, that is powerful beyond measure, right? So one thing that you need to understand is the most silly and insignificant things within your life can have such a big and significant impact on it. He was sitting down one day watching a TV show about two cartoon characters. But just before that, he witnessed his mum and his dad fighting. Apparently they got physical, all these sorts of things that would have been a stressful, emotional event for a young kid. And in that moment, there was a seed, a thought, and a belief planted, and he took it on board. That belief, that seed, that thought, all the same thing, then begun to grow and act out within his day-to-day life. And like you said, or like you heard right at the very start, he was saying, hey, this is really having a huge impact on my life. I have got a kid now. I've got a partner, a wife, all these sorts of things. I want to experience the life that I want to experience. So there you go. This is episode number 3 of the Self Mastery Show. I truly hope that you enjoyed it. I know that I absolutely loved watching this, because that is a video that I've watched many, many times. And I still remember the very first day of watching it. I cried my freaking eyes out. I was like, oh my God, that's what I want, and that's what I want to do. And ever since that moment, I didn't know it, but ever since that moment, I've been working towards that moment exactly. Helping people change the way that they think, feel, and act in the most simple and easiest way possible. What I would love for you to do is put a comment below of what was the biggest learnings, ahas, takeaways from this session, from this lesson. And also make sure you subscribe, do the like, all the things, and I'll see you in the very next video. Master your mind and you will master your life. I'll see you next time.